Intelligence Studio. Do subscribe and like the video.
Delhi is wrapped in a thick smog from parali, or crop residue, burning in neighboring states, especially Punjab. It has become an annual feature in the national capital of India as winter begins. The Indian Supreme Court on Monday rebuked the Delhi government for delaying the implementation of the Graded Response Action Plan, or GRAP Level 4, saying that the preventive measures would remain in effect until further orders, regardless of fluctuations in air quality. In Beijing, the capital of China, pollution is nearly 10 times less than in Delhi. More than a decade ago, Beijing was known as the smog capital of the world, where air pollution caused thousands of deaths every year. In a decade, starting in 2013, Beijing was able to bring down its air pollution drastically with a host of measures. Can Delhi learn anything from Beijing's war on air pollution? How Beijing cleaned its air. In 2005, when Beijing was hosting the 2008 Olympic Games, it came to be known as the smog capital of the world. Satellite data revealed that the city was one of the worst environmental victims of China's spectacular economic growth, which has brought with it air pollution levels that are blamed for more than 400,000 premature deaths a year, The Guardian had reported at that time. A decade ago, the air pollution in China attracted international attention as the U.S. Embassy in Beijing, one of the few reliable sources of air pollution data in the nation's capital, broadcast regular crisis-level readings as per a Bloomberg report. It also translated into protests that bubbled across the country. China at first pushed back against the outcry and demanded foreign embassies cease publishing air pollution data. But the government eventually owned up to the problem as pollution levels continued to soar to new records. In 2014, President Xi Jinping admitted air pollution was the most prominent problem facing Beijing, and the country responded with a national plan to reduce it with a $270 billion war chest.
Beijing had announced a 5-year action plan in September 2013. The plan, which acknowledged that Beijing's air pollution had become severe, aimed to deliver dramatic effects to both safeguard people's health and promote long-term sustainable growth, as per a UNEP report. The plan set specific targets, tightened emission standards ahead of national ones, and closed important loopholes in enforcement. Some of the plan's most important elements targeted the transport sector. For instance, local authorities instituted a citywide lottery on license plates for anyone who wanted to purchase a new fossil fuel-burning car. Those wishing to buy an electric car, however, were able to obtain a plate more easily, encouraging citizens to switch to cleaner modes of transport. Additionally, it focused on controlling the flow of truck traffic through the city by ordering lorries to use the beltways to bypass the heavily populated areas. China, which was once considered the kingdom of the bicycle, with bikes dominating most streets, saw many people switch to cars as dramatic economic growth and urbanization came with an increase in individual wealth, contributing to a deterioration in air quality. Through the plan, Beijing authorities reintroduced bike-sharing schemes to try and once again increase the city's bike ridership. Over the years since, China restricted the number of cars on the road in cities like Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou, while capacity in China's emissions, heavy iron and steel industries fell, and new coal-fired power plants were banned in some areas, according to the Energy Policy Institute at the University of Chicago, or EPIC. Air pollution declined 42.3% between 2013 and 2021, according to the institute, which said China's efforts were the sole reason behind the modest drop in global pollution levels during that period.
Can't be China, but can learn important lessons. While Beijing has been successful in curbing pollution to a significant extent in decade-long efforts, Delhi pollution has only been worsening. Can Delhi learn any lessons from Beijing? China and India, due to inherent differences in their political systems, are often incomparable. While India is a raucous democracy that struggles to achieve consensus even on basic issues such as tackling pollution, the authoritarian state in China faces little problem once it decides to execute a policy. In China, the one-party system brooks no opposition. When the central government prioritizes an initiative, local authorities fall in line. That happened in the case of Beijing's pollution. As the capital worked in tandem with regional officials and neighboring cities, Zhongbo Shi, an atmospheric science professor at the University of Birmingham in England, had told the New York Times in 2022. In India, where local governments are run by an array of parties, coordination is really complicated, Professor Shur said. Despite differences in governance and politics, India can't afford to pour as much money into its fight against pollution as China did, and consistently high economic growth does translate into more pollution, as it had happened in the case of China, even though India is resolutely working on increasing the share of clean energy in its power mix. In 2019, India launched the National Clean Air Program, or NCAP, its first national effort to set clean air targets, aiming for a 20 to 30% reduction in particulate pollution by 2024, using 2017 as the base year. However, as per a recent report by the Energy Policy Institute at the University of Chicago, India recorded a significant 19.3% drop in particulate pollution in 2022 compared to 2021, the second highest reduction in the world after Bangladesh, adding an average of 51 days to the life expectancy of every citizen. The revised target for NCAP now is a 40% reduction by 2026, with 2019 to 20 as the base year. Yet a report by Center for Science and Environment has revealed that the states have utilized just 29.5% of the funds from NCAP between 2019 to 20 and 2023 to 24. A recent study led by Dr. Caspar Rudolf Dallenbach from Switzerland's Paul Scherrer Institute has revealed that Beijing's air pollution often starts outside the city. With substantial decreases in traffic, coal consumption, and overall economic activity, one might have expected a significant drop in pollution levels. However, we found that particle pollution remained high, Dallenbach told The Guardian. Dallenbach said, before smog in Beijing forms, pollutants are transported over hundreds of kilometers, making this a regional issue. To solve it, coordinated and stringent large-scale measures are needed across one of the most populated regions on the planet. In winter, the team found particle pollution from solid fuel burning for heating wood and coal, with the most severe air pollution periods being dominated by sources in the greater Beijing-Tianjin-Hebei area and the mountains to the west. In summer, air flows in from the south, and pollution is dominated by urban emissions, including solvents and petrochemicals from traffic and industry, probably from the Xi'an-Shanghai-Beijing belt, and taking in pollution from as far as 600 miles away. Delhi, too, air pollution in winters is largely due to burning of crop stubble in Punjab and Haryana, while pollution in summer is largely due to urban and industrial emissions as well as road dust. In the absence of coordination between different state governments, the Supreme Court is prodding the center as well, state governments to control stubble burning more efficiently.
And do subscribe to the channel.